was that the one thing Ballistix struggles with is aggression. And Tempo Storm, I feel if they can put that aggression on, including get to Magi, which was one of the problems during that Gen G series, could be a key to victory.
Let's get into it then. This is the tiebreaker. The one winner from this team will be able to take second place in the group, and the loser will take third place. That is effectively 2 lives for the second place in the round of 8, compared to just the 1 in the lower bracket.
High Sonya priority. This goes in line with the Sonya bans we saw earlier from them today, early on. So really prioritizing what Sonya could do with the objective. Also remember that this is one of Glaurung's best heroes. To deny that early, take that away, means that you're controlling the solo lane. This may simply be a warrior chokeout here for Ballistix, not completely obviously with the Garrosh ban, that's very meta, but they're going to maybe look to try to control this map through macro in the top lane. That was their weakness the first time they faced off against Tempo Storm. They're changing it up here a little bit, drafting that Sonya highly. I think one of the things we do have to talk about is the tank play from Hooligan. It's been mostly setups that have caused Ballistix to come back in this group. It's just the setups we've seen with Hooligan, hiding in bushes, stopping rotations, and getting picks.
Strong AoE presence already coming out from Tempo Storm.
Yeah, the Maiev coming out straight away. Last time, Ballistix banned it in the second game, and I believe in the first game as well.
That's correct.
So the fact that they've managed to give that over to Tempo Storm already, in Tempo Storm, with Garrosh banned, they go straight for the Johanna, leaving Muradin ETC kind of heroes, maybe the Diablo, if Ballistix want to try that again, leaving those heroes over to Ballistix.
Well, one thing I think what we'll have to look at with Tempo Storm, obviously I think right now there's 2 very specific supports. Then you have to figure out what you want to deal with. Stukov, the follow-up on the Johanna Maiev initiation is very strong. Although Tempo Storm on this battleground does favor Alexstrasza as well. 2 very different playstyles when you look at that, and both of them have high impact around the objective. So if you're Ballistix, are you wanting to pick one up and then deny the other? So we see the Hanzo, there's going to be the Stukov. I expect that we might see the Alexstrasza ban here, so I actually really like this.
I like
Ballistix.
I definitely like the idea of trying to limit June. We've seen just how amazing he is on these highest priority supports, so perhaps trying to force him off a bit could be the linchpin here.
He has such a large support pool, but there's definitely levels of what you can do with the supports in this meta in terms of tiers. I don't know if this is going to be an Alexstrasza ban, just simply because Ballistix never, ever, I mean, in Korea, we never see Alexstrasza ever. I mean, we saw it maybe 1 or 2 times throughout the entire regular season. So they're going to focus on DPSs here instead, moving away from the support choke, knowing that June has a high hero pool here. Genji removed now. And Tempo Storm has won so many of their games through high impact, tough, and hard engages, where we're talking about Psalm hiding, flanking with the arrow, the Jaina you're talking about. The Genji here is another one of those hard engaged heroes where you can do massive burst damage to a single target, in this case Hanzo, or the Stukov, who's also vulnerable. So I think Ballistix is basically saying, Tempo Storm has played this group through rotations and hard engage with those rotations. Let's take away some of those high impact heroes, and I think Jaina is the only hero left that has that kind of flanking burst potential.
Well, I think a lot of it is the initiation between the Maiev, between the Johanna to initiate a lot of that, and they've used that. And we know that Maiev is Psalm's hero, which means that we start to look at Fan's hero pool, which is very deep. But when it comes to what they normally run, the Jaina's there. I just wonder, do we get the Dahaka or do we get the Blaze? We do get the Blaze. I think a lot of these do help give you a lot of added protection on the front line, but the Stukov I think is always a problem. But I think that Maiev and the way that Psalm plays with his flanks and his ability to get back onto that Stukov might be the key to victory here for Tempo.
Jaina coming out, 70% win rate, and the Tempo Storm are a fairly decent part of that statistic, having been so good with the hero, and they have so much set up for it. The Maiev and the Johanna already, and they still have room for their support in terms of, like, even if it goes Uther or Rhaegar, it's still extra CC in that particular way. And they've also, like you mentioned, the Alexstrasza, not so much for setup, but for keeping that Jaina alive. And of course, we have actually seen them run Lucio earlier on in the previous series, against previous series a couple days ago.
I'm trying to decide what Ballistix is going to think about tanks here. I think Muradin is the safe pick. He's available and can just do a lot of peeling, can tank a lot of what Jane is trying to do. Muradin's a great mobile ward, as we like to say about warriors who stay in the bush, stay in the into the vision to get ideas about where the flank is going to come through. They are going to take the Meridian in. They need Hooligan to be able to spot these flanks from Jaina, because we've seen so many times with North American teams especially will hide Jaina somewhere, come in with a flank, burst somebody down. It's so difficult to retreat with Johanna on the team. Jaina's got her slows. And they're going to take the fall stat here for disengage potential as well when those types of combos come through. So Ballistix is playing against Tempo Storm's playstyle really well in this draft.
Support, though, I mean, Alexstrasza definitely comes to mind, but then I start looking at the fact that we've got the Hanzo, we've got this type of setup. We have not yet seen this type of composition of a Johanna Maiev, and if you run a Deckard, just imagine getting that type of lockdown.
Circles into triangles.
I mean, that is, yeah, circles and triangles. We got all sorts of geometry Hanzos over there, like trying to figure out, like, wait a minute, I only do walls here, you know?
I can only do simple geometry.
Well, that's the thing, is like, where do we go here? Alexstrasza seems the most likely, but is it time to experiment just a little bit?
In terms of crowd control, Meridian is the majority of the CC from the side of Ballistix, so cleanses might not be as necessary, but their damage output can be very bursty. So we might see an Uther, for example, but we are sticking with Alexstrasza. The area control and the AoE this can offer, especially on those shrines, is going to be absolutely huge. What they need to avoid is really getting hit by stuck-off silences under the abundance or getting caught out of position without the dragon when they're trying to go in with Maiev.
Do you have enough burst, though, on the side of Ballistix that, okay, we've got the slow, we've got a little bit of lockdown, and then Alexstrasza puts out this huge healing circle, and you're like, well, can I get...
Could it be
Can we kill it before it goes?
I think it's somewhat of a counterintuitive thing, though. You have really good sustain with the Alexstrasza for your zoned healing, right? It's good for controlling a shrine, but also your damage is burst and combo based. So those two things don't really work together well. Sure, it can help deal with the Hanzo damage, but the burst that comes, I just don't know if it's enough. You know, in the longer fight, I think Ballistix always wins.
Well, it's time for predictions here on two very different drafts.
The support is rough for Tempo Storm. I'm leaning towards Ballistix. I think either heroic Falstad picks could really mess up the Alexstrasza, so I'm going with Ballistix here.
This is such a tough one for me, just simply because I think Tempo Storm clutches in these high, tense moments. I think they've got great shot calling on their squad, but I think the draft and the Alexstrasza, again, turns me away. I have to go Ballistix. It's that same Alexstrasza hating I've been doing all tournament long. I got to continue.
Maiev. Psalm on Maiev is one of the most terrifying things that we have in the entire world. And when we see this play, the Alexstrasza, I'm sold on the rest of the play as well. Tempo Storm, I went 2-0 on them on the first set. I think they're going to hit the trifecta.
And I go Ballistix. I think there's no way that they, after the previous defeat from Tempo Storm...
This feels familiar, because this is what happened last time when JL's the only one who went,
Oh no!
Was it this same desk?
I think it was actually.
Oh no! Oh. Well, we have 38% to the 62% here coming in from Twitch chat as well. So a lot of people in North America, as well as maybe even just the Western world, looking to put some faith here in Tempo Storm. Let's head over to our commentary team. I want to get their thoughts as well coming into this, because no one's getting let off the hook on this one. Come on, boys.
Well, Tempo Storm did it once, and what can they do it again when it all matters? This is an extra life in those playoffs. So I'm pretty excited, Dread.
Yeah, I actually fall on the side of Jayhow there a little bit with the fact that Maiev specifically in Psalm, it is one of the best heroes for him, and let's be real, Maiev is terrifying.
All right, well, it's all down to one map, guys. Take it away.
One map, one chance, one opportunity, as a famous rapper once said in my little paraphrase quote here, but it's North America taking on Korea. Tempo Storm, like I say, they've gone for the 2-0 on day number 1, but Ballistix by day number 5 have become reborn.
And here in the blue, looking to find themselves in the upper bracket is Tempo Storm, with Maiev played by Psalm, Caterpillar on Johanna, Glarong playing the Blaze, Jaina played by Fan, and we're going to have June on Alexstrasza.
And in the red, it's Ballistix. And it's going to be Jongha playing Sonya, SCSC on Hanzo, Magi on Stukov, Hooligan on Meridian, and SDE on Falstad.
See where these two teams end up colliding here when it comes to the laning decision. Tempo Storm, very comfortable with this composition, but absolutely Ballistix is as well. Very different approaches for the two teams, and I can't help but feel like Ballistix, purely off of that Sonya first rotation coming out from them, have surely given their research towards Tempo Storm, trying to get them offset a little bit here. And we're about to find out if they have, succeeded in that avenue, as the last time these two teams ended up facing Tempo Storm was terrifying. But Ballistix here has really leveled up as the tournament has gone on.
That they were, and that is the man that J-Hat was speaking of. It's Sam on the Maiev. Any chance he gets to get engaged, he's going to be looking to force out those binds and try and set his team up for those early kills that they will need to try and not only control those shrines leading into level 10, but also forcing their agenda. Ballistix have a composition, however, which is all going to be set up all too familiar, like they did against Fnatic, with Hooligan jumping in and Margie with the lurking arm to try and find that that kill within. But I think the desk raised a great point there, Dread. How much burst potential did Ballistix really have to try and make something happen?
It's not so much the immediate burst as much as it is the utility and crowd control that I think this composition has to be able to depend on, right? With that Stukov lurking arm coming out on their side, along with the Stormbolt synergy. I really want to shout out already the rotation that we got from them, transferring Jungha all the way back down. But hold up here. Abundance going to land there for Tempo Storm on that Alexstrasza. Falstad ended up joining the rest of the skirmish. But what I wanted to highlight was they end up making rotations on Falstad up towards the top half of the map the second that they know where the first shrine is going to be on the lower half of the map. Then draw Sonya back to be able to get that 1 minute camp, and then end up getting this bottom as well, or at least kind of poking and prodded towards it. Already a lot of, kind of macro sense being displayed from Ballistix, and it will not really give them a major upper hand, but you can surely tell the thought process coming in and that they're going to want to have a laning mismatch as this game goes on with that Falstad into the Blaze. Post 7, it gets very difficult for Blaze.
But it does, but you can understand what Tempo Storm's strategy is, at least before that level 7 mark. It is we have the better wave clear and we have the better kill pressure. And you can see that they are the ones leading that initiative, starting off with their own Khazra camping, going for that invade. That is what forced down Falstad to fly on through preemptively in case the fight were to break out.
Tempo has an interesting situation kind of answer. I just highlighted the fact that the aim for the laning mismatch with the Falstad into the Blaze is going to happen, and both teams are picking up the Shamans and are going to be able to time that around that middle, a shrine, which we see coming up in 30 seconds. Now think about this. If he already wins in the mismatch, when you time the camps together, who has the greater opportunity of gaining value? That's going to fall over to Ballistix. So much so, I would like to see Tempo maybe cap this and Psalm look for a flank and try and get a pick onto Falstad as they feel probably pretty comfortable at this point in time. 13 seconds out there from first shrine.
Seems to be the case as Sam is going to rejoin the rest of his team in the mid lane. And we are going to see them carry on pushing. That is Ballistix pushing top lane. And that's the advantage that you have with a Falstad, with the global factor, able to try and capitalize onto this one. But with Tempo Storm having an Alexstrasza, especially a Dragon Queen, that is a massive power spike for control. And it's something they'll be looking to try and exert to start this game off with a bang.
Larong still has not committed either to the shrine or that top half of the map. Falstad now getting the fight in, and Shaman Camp pressuring on the top half of the map. 20 skeletal defenders here for Tempo Storm. So I'm going to go in for a tether on Namagi, but it's not going to proc early. Ends up getting it late. Glarong trying to get the track down as the Puzzle is used. And that is now first blood here for Tempo Storm. But Jungha spinning around, spinning to win. Hooligan goes in for the Dwarf Toss, but Psalm ends up taking the Shadow out, and he's going to keep himself alive. The Boomerang does not land. Tempo Storm turn there on to the Sonya. And with those first 2 kills, they get the Shaman Rid on the top half, a Punisher behind it, and a lot of momentum.
Exactly what Tempo Storm needed there to get themselves into the start of this game. They're going to hit level 7 first, and they're going to have a Punisher, but they may not be stopping just here. As SDE has to use the very last part of his mana to make sure that he gets out of harm's way. A very scary proposition for him, as the punishment potential is not going to be available for Tempo Storm to jump on through to follow up what that mortar was able to achieve. But hang on a minute. Sam is looking for it.
Great job of using the well there to make the tether a little bit less, kind of profitable in terms of the distance it ends up pulling. Tempo Storm, pretty effective amount of siege here, going to be dropped onto that bottom fort. Hooligan not in range to make anything happen here as the side soak between Falstad and Blaze kind of rages on here. The seasoned marksman is stacking up pretty well here, only about 11 so far through. But when it really comes down to it, Tempo Storm has opened up a lot here. The fact that they didn't get bodied when it comes to the Shaman mismatch, and Glarong identified the situation of, that he is not going to have a good time up there. So Tempo wasted nothing. Blaze immediately goes down to the shrine and try and force the fight. That being said, shout out to Psalm with that amazing, escape there at the very end. I can't help but feel like that bait was a lot of the reason Tempo won that first shrine.
The engagement potential, the ability to jump onto a crucial target, starting off there with Margie, and then Jun popping the damage. He's popping that Dragon Queen, the abundance build really coming to life, really coming to fruition. A big reason why it's so strong on Infernal Shrines. And I think questions and eyebrows would have been raised there, Dread, if Tempo Storm had struggled on that very first one.
Yeah, very much so here. Transitions seem to be, kind of pressuring on the bottom half. For now, every team you can see, questioning, is this going to be the moment? Nice scout there coming out from SC with that arrow. knows that Maev's going to be down here. The side soak's still going to continue. It's really interesting. Both teams running essentially a near a 1-4. Sonya once in a while is giving some interest towards that middle half of the map. But when Heroics come online, it's going to be far more in favor here of Tempo Storm, at least when considering that race. So if Ballistix want this, they need to all in it now. And Tempo, not going to back out.
They're going to commit to that one. They do pick up the Khazra. Well on their way. A very big difference in XP as they're going to approach level 10 first. Larong's doing a fantastic job to keep in check with this XP, bouncing before top and then into the mid lane to make sure that these lanes are pushed on out, giving him some potential to prep for not only the next shrine, but for the next target.
Oh, look at top. The full collapse here. We already see the tether attempt coming out. He's going to pull it back. Barrel roll used. Blessed shield down and no escape left. SDE is out of here.
I told you, the prep is there. And the ability to capitalize on a massive punishment potential with the Blessed Shield being utilized there by Caterpillar, a fantastic member of this squad to really keep your eyes on, as he will be looking to try and carry this team to victory as Tempo Storm start this one off with a bang. 3 kills to 0. And they're fighting, Dread. Let's not forget, right, this is a best of 1. There are no second chances. This is a chance to get yourself into the upper bracket for 1 extra life in those playoffs.
And I can't, I want to shout out Tempo Storm with that rotation. When they had 10 advantage, they were sitting at that bottom camp, right? Posturing around with the members of Ballistix, mainly kind of hooligan dancing around. Normally, Tempo Storm would be a team with that 10 advantage that takes the fort that is very easy sitting in front of them. Instead, making a rotation all the way to the other side of the map, not taking the expected play, and taking that fight that they know they can win with the 10 advantage. And let's say that Ballistix didn't hit 10 within that window, sieging what is a far more, less damage structure to gain as much as they possibly can on the map. This is the small things that Tempo Storm has been working on in this downtime between HGC and the MSB, and why they find themselves fighting for that upper bracket once again is Shrine number 2 comes online. Falset still soaking on bottom. Blaze looking to join in.
But with level 10 unlocked for Ballistix, we can understand a little bit more into what their composition is trying to achieve. Tempo Storm definitely looking to try and lead those front lines with not only Sam but Caterpillar, but then you've got the Gust, as well as that flailing swipe to try and reset the tempo, ironically enough, and try and turn things around in your favor. Still, Ballistix hungry for that very first kill. They need one on the board to gain some momentum, and keep your eyes on Hooligan, because this is the star player in my eyes. This guy will be looking to make crazy plays, jumping from crazy angles, and when they're behind it, that's when you absolutely had to do something obscure.
Lurking arm about to come off cooldown in a couple of seconds here. The bunker already dropped from Glarung, and that's something that if a Stormbolt comes through, it might be a kill. Dragon Queen actually gets popped along with Maiev there, using the Warden's Cage. Gus is going to pull it back into that silence. Maiev has no opportunity to survive. She gets out, ends up getting the kite, and look at that with the passive vault use. Psalm survives in the trade at the cost of Jungha's life here. Tempo Storm still turning, still aggressing here. Hooligan able to dwarf toss out. SDE and friends do survive, but it looks like Tempo has another Punisher.
That they do, and honestly, they're unlucky not to find any more kills than they found with just the one pick on towards Jongha. But this is Tempo Storm basically showing us that, hey, that 2-0 on day number 1, yes, you can make an argument as the days have gone by that Ballistix have got stronger, but this is where our power level sits.
Yeah.
We aren't this one-trick wonder. NA actually do have some power, and we saw how strong they went up against Gen G, and how strong Ballistix went up against Gen G. But now Tempo Storm with a Frozen Punisher with level 13 to boot, not only will they be taking this fault, they will be looking to try and open up that wall going in towards that keep for a win condition.
Sidewall has to be the focus of Tempo once a profit here. We'll be able to make the rotation in time. Glarung already joining in. Sonya did end up picking mid-camp. Going to be a problem as things go down. Leap 1 going to get baited by Hooligan. That's just fine there. As that Stormbolt landed on the Cattle, actually making it to where that Condemn could not get a follow-up. Very cheeky play from him.
Yeah. Bear in mind, SDE is actually still in the bottom lane, soaking. They so desperately need level 13, but will Tempo Storm present them with that opportunity? They may just not, because Hooligan's going to get jumped on not once, but twice. Frozen in place, but the punishment potential cannot be achieved. As now they go for the turnaround, the counter engage, the flailing swipe and the Gust will not be enough to ensure that Hooligan survives, and a lot of resources are burnt, but not many lives survive.
Double disengage used there between the Gust and that flailing swipe on the side of Ballistic, and Tempo Storm still find themselves with the kill. No keep to their name, but at this point, 5-0 in terms of kills. Ballistix seem to be just crumbling here under the pressure that Tempo Storm is applying, and it all started around that first team fight here. They do have a lot of tools if they can manage to get ahead in macro, but as it currently stands, Skimmy, Tempo's structures are unscathed.
And that's a scary proposition to say. When you're looking at the nameplate, you go, it's Tempo Storm up against Ballistix. And Ballistix, they're struggling.
They are, very much so. And as we said, you know, with how dominant Ballistix look ranking through this tournament, it is amazing to see this kind of confidence still displayed by Tempo Storm. Gonna pick up that bottom camp, no 16 talents here. This is where Tempo Storm has to tread lightly. Ballistix, when they are behind, they are not afraid to pull the trigger if somebody's even slightly out of position. We saw that, you know, kind of against Fnatic, very comfortable, you know, with the Hooligan Miracle Dwarf Toss Storm Bolt setups there with Moggy's lurking on follow-up. So with that in mind, Tempo need to be careful, and it's going to start with Cattle, drawing out an Iron Skin.
Double engage there from Hooligan as well as Jongha, looking to try and set something up. And it almost feels against what you'd imagine to be the most logical response, especially when you're playing back at home. When you are behind, you do not want to engage, but there becomes a point in time when you just have to force something so preposterous, so bizarre, that it does get you back into the game. And we have seen it time and time again from a squad like Ballistix. They're going to go for the Shaman camp once again, this time picking it up very, very early as they look to try and turn their attention into the other lanes. As Blaze is pushing top, SDE is pushing bottom, but a healthy 2-level lead now is the biggest narrative that I can take away from this one so far, Dread.
Keep in mind, Tempo has experience on reserve with that bottom fort still yet to kind of fall. That in mind, as the XP goes up, you know, those forts are kind of less when it comes to the percentile of experience you're going to gain. So it's not miles like it was in the early game, but still, you know, Tempo is kind of waiting that out in case later they're going to need that for themselves. The biggest advantage that Tempo Storm does have is that because they have been dominating on the bottom half and top has been pressured out so effectively, every Shaman threatens an actual keep. And then beyond that point, with that middle shrine, you know, going to spawn very, very soon here, Tempo may have the option to kind of feign interest towards the bottom half of the map, demand a response from Ballistix, and then kind of rotate back out. Because Ballistix now, as we see 20 seconds out, will be able to hit 16. It is very, very reliable that they will get that. And Tempo, they're trying to, you know, kind of force here before that happens.
Maybe the closest chance that Ballistix have had in a long, long time to force a fight on an even talent tier, looking to try and force something where they can get the upper hand, because right now it's not Sam, or if it's not Sam, or if it's not Caterpillar leading the front charge to try and set something up, then it's Jun in the back line supporting them all with that increased Dragon Queen duration at level 16. When it comes to points like this, that is a massive power spike, almost like a 6-member in your team, looking to exert some power, but notice Hooligan's position right now.
He finds SDE in a 1v1, not going to get the lockdown though. Hooligan ends up hitting a Storm Bolt. We see the Ancient Spear go forward, but Jongha second guessing if he wants to go in. The trade to SDE versus Fan. Fan falling below 50% HP. Hooligan with the mega flank here onto June.
Dragon's Arrow, they're going to jump into the back line. Massive lurking arm. They're going to try and take out June, who gets the flame buffet backwards. He's trying to survive and do whatever he can. He manages to pop a massive abundance. He gets the heal. The gust comes across. SDE is so damn low as Cleansing Flame comes across from downtown. That's a second kill. And Tempo Storm, they hold strong, they hold resilient, they will not die.
They do not let down there. They hold their ground and turn it once again here to Ballistix and claim the third Punisher here of this game. And it looks like they're wasting zero time with that macro pressure they got in the top half. They say, we know our Punisher friend's going mid, but this keep is going to be ours, the very first one of the game. And without the fall stat, this is going to be risky. Now, Tempo needs to be careful. In 20 seconds, there is a gust opportunity. If somehow they get kind of threatened back off this, it could be too risky. Not going to be the case here, but again, that changes or is something we have to consider throughout the entirety of this siege. If Tempo maybe oversteps their bounds, stays too long, one gust play is all it takes.
Tempo Storm getting infinite value with that play right there, because as the members of Ballistix are distracted trying to defend their keep, they go in for the fight right here in the middle lane. But notice Hooligan, he's dropped down to half. Is he going to survive? The Blast Shield connects, and it's good. They take down the front line for Ballistix, and now it's just Jongha to try and force an engagement potential. Are we seeing a win condition set up here? They're going to go for this second keep in the mid lane, and if they're not going to commit, then they are in the driving seat, well on their way to level 20. It looks like the disengage is going to come across, and rightfully so. A perfect clean game with the scoreboard currently 8-0.
Absolute dominance being displayed here by Tempo Storm on Infertile Shrines above Battleground, something that Korea has been very effective on, right behind, I feel like, Sky Temple. And now with Tempo Storm, you know, that experience they had on the bottom half, they are going to be able to round out the 20. Tempo can force that bottom keep with a 20. The question is that something they consider too risky at this point in time with how big of a lead structurally they have? We know the next Shrine is going to be spawning top, so in theory, in terms of split pressure with catapults, mid is not the same distance as, for instance, that bottom lane here. So I could see maybe, you know, a bit more kind of emphasis want to be set there at that point in time. But it doesn't look like they're going to get the all-in commitment, at least not yet. Looking to take all those little yellow things on the map, make sure they're locked in blue.
Map control is the name of the game for Tempo Storm, and speaking of map control, Dread, look where the next Shrine is going to be spawning. It's up in that top lane, and what do you know? Tempo Storm have already taken Ballistix Keep. If they can claim a fourth Punisher of this game, they are going straight towards the core, and they're going for the win in this situation. A very tense moment right here in a best-of-1 series, determining who gets that second spot in the group, who gets an extra lifeline when it comes to playoffs.
Keep in mind, that Gus. Gus and Flailing Swipe are amazing defenses at this point in time. Tempo does not have this game in the bag, but it looks like they want to end it. Blessed Shield ends up getting dropped along with the Dragon Queen. Tempo Storm, 16 minutes in, they want to end this game. They want to go to the upper bracket. Warden's Cage is dropped along with the Gus and that Lurking Arm. Hooligan going in, doing his best, but the shielding on the core has been removed there. Dragon's Arrow lands Psalm so low, he gets the vault 86%. Tempo getting threatened back here. Hooligan tracking down Psalm, looking to get the kill. Hooligan getting tethered back, and he gets the kill onto Psalm.
They do take down Maiev, and this might be what Ballistix need to do. Yes, absolutely. You have to keep an eye on that top right screen. You've got two catapults. You've got a Shaman Camp pushing on it, and a Kezra. The core is down to 50%. But yet, Ballistix still chase on through. They find a second kill, but the core is definitely a casualty on their own side. Down to 29%. And oh, Dread. Your bones, they start to shake. That is a very, very risky proposition.
Yes, but what this has done has put Ballistix in a near lose-lose scenario. Because they did not win that fight fast enough or effectively enough to be able to kind of threaten out past this point, that core is going to remain at 29% for the remainder of this game. There is no Abathur here, no Mule available. That top Shrine is not a win condition for Tempo Storm. They do not need to go to it, whereas Ballistix, they have to move through mid or through top and not let Tempo Storm get to their side of the map ever. Tempo.
Look at the damage.
They actually need to get away from this camp as fast as possible. This was a very smart choice from them. Again, if the only way that Tempo can realistically lose this game is if somehow they get caught out on their side of the map, can't make it to the other side. And if Tempo does make it, again, keep in mind there is airy gust opportunities if 20 is picked up, which it will be in a matter of seconds, and that Flailing Swipe. But if Tempo, you know, even can look at the core as a 5-man unit, I can't help but feel like this is GG.
Wind Tunnel has been locked in. Multiple gusts that are going to come across for that disengage potential, which they so desperately need. Ignore pain on Jongha. Definitely needs to try and ignore that pain, but notice how Tempo Storm are posturing. Yes, Jongha have started. 18 skeletal defenders have been achieved, but the complete fragmentation of Ballistix. You've got members in the top, members down below. Hooligan completely on his own. The water elemental is going to get popped onto Jongha, who's going to get dropped quite low. Ignore pain comes across. Now he goes for the spin to win, utilizing that extra healing.
Hooligan's about to flank. They need to be careful. Tempo Storm is about to get flanked by Hooligan. They hit the two-man Storm Bolt along with the Dragon's Arrow. Psalm goes in to try and get the Gust against the wall. Tempo Storm is stuck in a corner here, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody going down yet, but Fan first to drop. Psalm trying to get the retreat. Dragon Queen comes out, but it is too little too late. Gets the knockback there. Catapults mounting through mid, but with this window of opportunity, Ballistix will be able to pick up this Punisher, and Tempo not nearly as in control as we saw them for the first 15 minutes of this game. And you gotta wonder, is this too much pressure for them to handle? Can they close this out?
We can see right here an action replay as the Gust just locking them all in place. The Lurking Arm was on cooldown, but wasn't even needed. They had the Flailing Swipe, and you are locked against that wall. The Fatty Slap, getting the kills, getting the job done. And now Ballistix in that late stage of the game, with those respawn time is so high, can really start to abuse the macro pressure. They have the faster to keep that mid lane in check, where those catapults are pushing on through. In the top lane, where those catapults will be coming on through, Ballistix already have their eyes set on it because they have the Frozen Punisher. They are looking for a sidewall. They themselves are looking for a keep. Yeah, they will be looking to try and end this game and just turn it on its head.
They need to stagger the deaths, though. That is the biggest thing. They have the Wind Tunnel if they want to end this game. So now we got 4 seconds until we're going to see Maiev join the ranks of Tempo Storm. 62% on the Punisher. Leap number 2 is going to get baited there at the 20:05. We're going to see that back online. Glorong able to dodge there with that jet propulsion, but they're going to go for the core. Again, there is a Wind Tunnel.
Dragon Queen is being popped very early on here by Jun as they look to try and put on a massive defense. Glorong in the front line aiding Psalm as the Wind Tunnel gets popped very early on. not going to be used, and that spells disaster for Ballistix, really saying to them that they are not going for a
Tempo
core end.
can't get baited, though. Keep in mind, Tempo Storm does not have an advantage away from the core. If they go too far out in that type of circumstance, they might get baited in an immediate turn. Oh, Tempo, though, do not walk past
It's discipline on the side of each team right here. They realize the ramifications. It is so damn serious, but the win tunnel to say, let's get out of this team fight, let's play it back. Top lane is now stalemate. We have the Falstead Global. Let's utilize that fact, and we are now, for the first time in this game, actually ahead in XP.
Tempo Storm is still not really decided what they want to make happen. They go for an invade here. Interesting choice. Bunker's going to get dropped. Tempo may want to make the transition towards mid with a lot of the DPS, but now Glaren got to get caught out. Jet Propulsion goes down. Hooligan going to land the Stormball. And Dragon's Arrow actually misses there. SC now joining the fight. Look at that. Warden's Cage locking it down. Magi with the lurking arm trying to buy time, but the two-man Jet Propulsion. Tempo Storm locks down two, get the kills. Jungha trying to clean up shop, but Song kites it out, and June comes in, lands behind the team, finishes it up, and it looks like Tempo Storm has it.
Flawless performance right there. You just see the disappointment on the face of all those Ballistix members as Glaurung bobbing in his seat. You can tell the amount of excitement this means to him. We beat them 2-0. Now we're looking to go for the second kill against the Korean powerhouse known as Ballistix. Who do we have for the defense? It's SDE and Magi. And Sam, the man who just seems to elude and dodge death every single time, is onto the core. They're ecstatic. Look at them jump. They're going to get the second spot in this bracket, and GG to Tempo Storm.
Tempo Storm, 3-0 there with that win up against Ballistix, and find themselves now, after this tiebreaker, into the upper bracket, moving into the playoff stage. Something that I can't help but feel like no one would have projected going into this tournament.
We've seen North America come across on multiple different occasions saying we feel strong, we feel better, this is our tournament, this is our chance. And this time those words were met with actions. You can see the disappointment for Ballistix. Back-to-back losses in one day up against two powerhouses. And I'm going to make it right now. Tempo Storm are a powerhouse. We've seen the short editorials, and they're saying we want to get to the finals. And every single time we watch this team perform, it's getting more and more likely. A bold prediction, but a statement I'm going to make, not even as a North American fan.
And one thing you got to consider is, whether or not Ballistix regrets giving Psalm his Maiev. Either way, we're going to throw it over to the analysts and hear what they had to say about that last game.
And that is